For years, the endgame of Dead by Daylight wasn't an epic chase or a tense mind game at the gates. It was this. A stubborn, hours-long staring contest. The hatch used to be one of the most broken, infuriating, and debated mechanics in the game's history. It was responsible for so much chaos, from entire teams vanishing mid-match to ego battles that could last for actual hours. So how do we get from that to the hatch we have today? This is a deep dive into the complete, chaotic history of the hatch. We'll uncover its scrapped origins, relive the era of 4-man escapes and legendary standoffs, and trace its evolution to the present day. And once we've uncovered its history, we'll answer a crucial question. After all these changes, is the hatch balanced and necessary for the health of modern Dead by Daylight? Before we dive in, I want to give a massive thank you to my amazing channel members. I'm trying to do something different with channel memberships, so 100% of all membership income is donated to the local animal shelters that I work with. A huge thank you to my Tier 1 members Polo, Jay Reynolds, Peter RJ, and Evil Cherub. And a special thank you to my Tier 2 members Kelnek, In Cairo, Winnison, Fox Rocks, ZSD, Crazy Creeper, Mirror Steer, and Eden. Thank you all so much for your contributions, it really means a lot. If you'd like to be added to my list of amazing donors and help animals in need, you're more than welcome to join my channel memberships today and help us make a small difference. The story of the hatch actually begins with an idea that never even made it into the game, the Black Lock. This was Behavior's first concept for an alternate escape, where survivors could use a skeleton key to open special locks scattered around the map. The idea was scrapped before the public beta, but its ghost haunted the game for years, as old item and add-on descriptions continued to confuse players by referencing these non-existent locks. When the hatch was finally introduced, it was the Wild West. Its spawn logic followed a strange formula. The hatch would appear closed once the number of completed generators was one more than the number of living survivors. So if 3 survivors were left alive, the hatch would spawn after the 4th generator was completed. If all 4 survivors were left alive, it would spawn after the 5th generator, giving the team another escape route separate from the exit gates. This meant the hatch could show up long before the endgame even started. With this rule, a survivor holding a key could open the hatch for a full 30 seconds, allowing the entire team to escape without ever touching a generator again. For killers, it was a demoralizing and fundamentally broken mechanic. You could have a build entirely dedicated to the endgame, only for the whole team to vanish into a hole in the ground. But the true golden age of hatch toxicity came from the standoff. Before 2019, killers couldn't close the hatch, but they could grab a survivor mid-jump. This created a toxic game of chicken. If the survivor jumped, the killer could grab them. But if the killer swung first, hitting or missing didn't matter, the survivor had just enough time to jump in and escape. The result was a pure battle of wills, where 2 players would just stare at each other, sometimes for over an hour, waiting for the other to get bored and give up. It was a massive design flaw that held the endgame hostage, created incredible negativity, and proved that a change was desperately needed. Change finally arrived in 2019 with the introduction of the endgame collapse, an update designed to kill the hatch standoff once and for all. The solution had 2 parts. Killers were given the ability to close the hatch, which immediately powered the exit gates and started a 2-minute timer, and their ability to grab a jumping survivor was removed. This officially ended the standoff, replacing the toxic stalemate with a dynamic race. If the killer found the hatch first, they'd close it, but if the survivor found it first, they were guaranteed the escape. While this was a massive improvement that created a more thrilling final sequence, it didn't solve everything. The core problem of multiple survivors escaping early with a key remained, because the hatch's spawn logic hadn't been fixed yet. Fixing these long-standing issues is a constant theme in Dead by Daylight's development, and it's a topic we explore regularly on this channel. If you enjoy these deep dives into the game's evolution, take a second to subscribe. I'm a new creator, and it helps keep me motivated and brings me more joy than I can express. After years of trial and error, Behavior finally landed on the modern hatch design in patch 5.3.0. They streamlined everything down to one simple, elegant rule. The hatch now only spawns visibly and audibly when there is only 1 survivor left in the trial. This single change completely wiped out the problematic multi-person escapes that had plagued the game from the beginning. The hatch stopped being a secret objective for a coordinated squad to abuse and was instead cemented as a true last chance salvation for the final survivor. Many argue this is what it should have been all along, a pity escape for the losing team. Today's mechanics are a summary of all the lessons learned over the years. The hatch spawns for the last survivor already open. If the killer finds it first, they can close it, triggering the in-game collapse and forcing the survivor to make a desperate run for the gates. The only way for a survivor to open a closed hatch now is with a key. This action takes 2.5 seconds and leaves them vulnerable to being grabbed by the killer, bringing back a tiny piece of that old grab interaction in a much healthier and more balanced way. Keys, once the most powerful items in the game, had been nerfed to a niche but still potentially escape rewarding role. They are no longer a free pass to an early victory, but have become a tool for a very specific, high-stakes counterplay at the very end of the match. Offerings that affect the hatch's spawn location, like Vigo's blueprint, still exist, but are far less important now that only one person can use the escape. So why do so many players defend the hatch, even when it feels like a free escape? The core of the argument really comes down to a fundamental question: what kind of game is Dead by Daylight? At its heart, many see it as a party game, a horror simulator meant to be played with friends for fun, thrills, and jump scares. From this perspective, the hatch serves a purpose beyond just winning or losing. It's about storytelling and keeping things fun. It provides the cinematic, quote-unquote final girl moment straight out of a slasher film. It's that last sliver of hope that keeps the final moments of a brutal match exciting. For the last survivor, facing the impossible task of repairing multiple generators alone while being hunted, the hatch prevents the game from devolving into a boring and hopeless chore. Think about it for a second. If you're playing Survivor and you were the last one standing with 3 generators left, would you want to keep playing? Probably not. You'd probably give up and wait for the end, wasting everyone's time and killing the excitement. The hatch is a crucial pressure release valve that gives the losing side one final dramatic out. The goal isn't to perfectly balance the scales, the point is to ensure the game remains fun and engaging to the very last second, which is a core tenet for any game designed to be enjoyed casually. On the other side of the argument are the players who feel the hatch is an unfair mechanic that rewards luck, or even a lucky offering, over skill. This viewpoint stems from the undeniable fact that, while Dead by Daylight may have started as a goofy party game, the developers have increasingly treated it like a competitive one. The introduction of skill-based matchmaking in 2021 was a clear signal of this shift, and the game has only gotten more competitive since then. Now, just like in my last section, try to see a match from the killer's point of view. Imagine you've been tormented all match by survivors teabagging at every pallet and clicking their flashlights non-stop. After a grueling game, you pull off a clutch play, swinging the scales wildly in your favor and taking out 3 of them. You've clearly won, but the last survivor, who brought a secret hatch offering, gets to the hatch first. They don't just jump in, they wait for you to get there, teabag on the hatch, and then escape for free. Their victory didn't come from outplaying you in the end, it came because they brought an offering and knew exactly where the hatch would spawn. It's less of a final girl moment and more of a hiding an ace up their sleeve at a poker game moment. Even though you won the match, it feels like you still lost. This is precisely why the controversial slugging for the 4K strategy exists, to prevent a match from ending in a coin flip. Some killers will leave the second to last survivor bleeding out on the ground, refusing to hook them. This tactic keeps the hatch from ever spawning, allowing the killer to hunt down the final survivor and secure what they feel is their earned perfect game. It's a direct response to feeling cheated out of a win by a mechanic that they see as luck-based. When a killer has methodically outplayed 3 survivors, having the final kill decided by a random spawn location of the hatch can feel cheap and infuriating. It can invalidate the skill demonstrated throughout the match, replacing it with a literal coin flip over who finds the escape first. In a game with an active competitive scene and a matchmaking system that ranks you based on kills, a luck-based escape can feel like a relic from a more casual era. So after this long and messy journey, what's my final verdict on the hatch? Personally, I think it is in the best state it's ever been in and has grown to be a necessary part of the game. I can relate to the thrill of finding a lucky hatch spawn after being the last one left alive. And as a killer, I often enjoy giving the last survivor hatch. It's that final moment of mercy that can make a brutal match feel complete. However, it isn't perfect, and for me, it all comes down to the offerings. In my view, we're at a point where hatch offerings should be removed entirely. After they were made secret, it became far too easy to ensure one player makes it out. Survivors don't even need to be in a coordinated team for this to work. They can just call out the hatch location in the pre-game lobby chat. This undermines the whole point of the modern hatch. In my opinion, the hatch should be a truly random final chance, an escape you can't rig in your favor. It's supposed to be that lucky, heart-pounding moment, not a guaranteed escape route planned before the match even begins. Removing the offerings would cement the hatch as what it should be, a pure, unpredictable sliver of hope. It's a mercy rule, a final shot at survival that prevents the end of the game from becoming a chore. While a hatch escape denies the killer a perfect 4K, the killer has still clearly won the match. Hatch simply provides a narrative out, a final twist that keeps the game interesting. But for that twist to have an impact, it needs to be earned by luck, not by an offering. The journey of the hatch is a mirror for the evolution of Dead by Daylight's own identity. It forces us to ask what kind of game it really is. Is it the casual, cinematic party game where the hatch provides a thrilling final girl moment, or is it a competitive test of skill where the hatch feels like a luck-based mechanic that robs the killer of their well-earned victory? The modern hatch attempts to walk this tightrope, serving as a mercy rule that preserves that narrative beat without completely breaking the game. It has evolved from a source of pure chaos into a mechanic that sits squarely in the middle of the game's core debate. And that brings the question to you. Where do you stand on the Great Hatch debate? Do you see it as a necessary part of a fun horror game, or an unfair relic in an increasingly competitive environment? And what about the final piece of the puzzle, the offerings? Should they be removed to make the hatch a true game of chance, or are they a valid strategy? Let us know in the comments. And speaking of discussing these topics, I've recently started streaming on Twitch. If you want to hang out, watch some games, and talk about any of the stuff I've covered in my videos, feel free to swing by. The link to my channel is in the description below. I'd love to see you there. And as always, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the fog. For years, the endgame of Dead by Daylight wasn't an epic chase or a tense mind game. For years, the endgame of Dead by Daylight wasn't an epic chase or a tense mind game. Fuck me. For years, it's the beginning sentence and I can't say it. So, after this long and messy journey, what's my final verdict on the hat? Why do I keep saying fucking hat? I've been playing way too much Carnival Hunt. Oh my god. It's a mercy rule, a final shot at survival that oh my god, why can I not say this? Survivors don't even need to be coordinated. Survivors don't even need to be a coordinated team for this to work. They can just call out the hat location. Fucking hatch. Ugh. The journey of the hat is a mirror for the evolution of Dead by. Did I just say hat again? I have to like bold hatch in the script so I stop saying hat. Jesus. The journey of the hatch is a major. Okay, God, there we go. All right, we can do this.